Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So the title of this video is "And a Child Lost His Life for This." And this is about the tragic situation in Senatobia, Mississippi, where a 1-year-old child, a baby, lost his life because the police shot inside the car that he was riding in. The mother held up the baby in the car after the police started shooting to show that a child was in the car. And guess what? The child was the victim. So let's get into it.
Good news! They didn't break the law. They paid for the diapers. They had a receipt. They showed the receipt when they left. The cops shot innocent people for no reason because there's video showing that they weren't actually driving towards the cops. They were driving away. How's it feel to be a bigot?
So I want to say that stealing is not punishable by death in the United States. So even if they had stolen some diapers from Walmart, that is punishable, but not by death. So first you need to prove that the person is stealing. And then you need to prosecute that person by law. Now you get jail time for stealing, but you don't get killed for stealing. So why does suspicion, because this was just suspicion, why does suspicion turn deadly so fast when the people involved are Black? And then the story keeps changing, but the outcome doesn't. The child is dead. Police say the car drove toward them. Witnesses say it didn't. Family says they paid for the diapers and they have that on tape. But none of that really matters because the child is still dead. Black parents don't get the benefit of the doubt, even with a baby in their arms. So here are the confirmed facts. In Senatobia, Mississippi, police responded to a call from Walmart. The call was about an alleged shoplifting incident involving diapers, not weapons, not violence, diapers. Baby Kohen Wiley was with his mother and a family friend. Witnesses say one woman was holding the diapers, the other was holding the baby. They walked out of the store, got into their car, and that's when police ran up on them. The mother held her baby up to show the police there was a child in the car. Witnesses said they saw her do it, and somehow that still wasn't enough to slow anybody down. Imagine being a Black parent in this country and realizing that even your baby, your literal infant, is not enough to make the system pause. That's the part that's stirring people up because Black families are constantly told to comply, to stay calm, to do everything right. But even when you do, the outcome can still be deadly. So here are some questions that we need to ask. Why is deadly force the first response when people involved are Black? Why does suspicion turn into bullets so fast? Why does the story always change after the fact, but the violence never does? That child is still dead. Why does a Black baby have to die before anybody admits something is wrong with the way this system sees us? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. This is not about diapers. This is not about diapers at all. This is not even about stealing. This is about the way this system sees Black people. This is about the value placed on Black life and how quickly that value drops the moment a Black person is seen as a problem instead of a human being. Humanity. They refuse to see our humanity. So a baby died. And instead of accountability, we're getting conflicting stories and shifting narratives because it's going to always turn out to be the white person feared for his life, even though he came in as the aggressor. But at the end of the day, when he makes a mistake, it's because he feared for his life. That little boy should still be alive. He should be learning how to walk better because he probably could walk a little bit. He should be learning how to talk. He should be getting into everything. He should be driving his mama crazy in the best way. Instead, his name is now another reminder that black children are not protected the way other children are. Until this country can face that truth, we're going to keep burying our babies and hearing excuses instead of justice. So all we can say now is rest in peace to baby Cohen. But I want to say something to the black community because it used to be black people knew how to protect themselves better because people would listen, because the children would listen. But young black people these days don't listen to anybody. You can go into any school, you can be as old or as young as you want to be, you can be as qualified as you want to be, and you don't get respect from a lot of those children. They see themselves as having the same authority as you do. So you can't talk to them. Just like Cyrus Belton in South Carolina, shot in that store. Your parents would tell you you don't need to be going into a store unless you're going to buy something and you can't buy it if you don't have money. So if you don't have money, you don't have any business in that store. A black woman from South Carolina, from that area, came on TikTok and said black people should not be getting upset about that boy because the parents didn't care anything about him. That he was running amok in the community, smoking and drinking, and he even had a gun. A 14-year-old shouldn't have a gun. See, we can't talk to each other. We can't say anything to each other. It used to be that people in the neighborhood could correct you, but you better not say anything to these children now. Because as one of my brothers, who's the principal of a middle school, said, one of the teachers said, you better not mess with these young kids now because they don't play. And they don't. You can't say anything to them. You can't say, well, why did they call the police on you? There are black people who are going to that very same Walmart and the police is not being called on them for shoplifting. Most black people are not being shot. Most black men are not going to prison. Most of us are not having these problems. But when you can't chastise your community because we don't operate on a code, you don't need to be going to that store. You don't need to be trying to play, go swimming. Now there's a TikTok video going viral about some white boys that had taken a black boy out swimming, so-called, took him out in the middle of the night, who nobody knows what he was doing, going swimming with them. And then he was standing out there stranded and he couldn't swim. And if some white people hadn't come along and rescued him, who knows what the outcome of that would have been. We need to have a code in the black community about how we're going to behave and how people are going to raise children because these things are going to continue to happen. Moving into a neighborhood or moving into a community that's majority white and your child is not going to be given the benefit of the doubt and the same law that applies to everybody else does not apply to you. You have to think about where you're moving to when you're raising children, or for yourself too, for that matter. Moving into a mostly white area that you know is racist and you don't have any protection. Even the black people there don't have any courage or any protection. So they just have to go along to get along. You have to think about these things when you move into an area like that. But the biggest problem is black people are not operating with a code of behavior. When I was growing up, my mother used to work for a family that had a little girl, and that little girl had the most beautiful toys. She had so many toys, and I wanted to come there and play. One day, my sister and I went there for something, and I saw that, and the little girl wanted me to play, and my mother said, "You go home." And then I called myself gonna clown. My mother said, "I'll tell you about where you out right here. You go on home and play with the toys that you have at home. But black people used to understand that you have to be careful around these people because it can be dangerous. Not always, but it can be. So we couldn't even play with children outside of our community when we were growing up. And that's how strict they were. And anybody in the neighborhood could correct you. But now, you better not say anything to these children, and you'll get yourself cussed out or beat up. And I am not going to be fighting anybody that's 15 years old or 18 years old or 25 years old. You do what you want to and let the white folks handle it. And then when the white folks handle it, see, this is what we get. So we need to think while we're living. We need to think about where we are and who we are and govern ourselves accordingly because the leopard has not changed his spots. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening and have a good day.